Hello, everyone. Um, going to give it a second and let some people get in here. I know there are going to be a few people here. Kind of hate to go live when everyone else is live, but also there's not a lot else I can do. I kind of got to go when I can go. Sadly, that's the case. Adjust a few things here. And if someone is watching, please let me know. Please let me know if you can hear me. I think my sound's good. Hey, Mike. Hey, Not Lou. Hey, Brutus. Hey, Headhunter. I'll get there. Give me a minute. Hey, Snakes. Hope to see you this weekend. I'll understand if I can't, but we'll have to get together on another weekend soon. Southwestern Oklahoma has been calling my name so bad for so long. And Texas, I haven't been down there in weeks, and it's just literally, I don't want to say stressing me out, but I'm just wanting to get to some places where we can, see some things. Because man, I'm not finding anything up here. It's horrible. It's horrible right now in northeastern Oklahoma. I've got some friends that are finding some stuff, but they're also hitting it 4 or 5 nights a week. Yeah, Snakes, you gotta hook me up, man. I know you know where it's at. I know you know where it's at. Thank you, Christina J. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you showing up. Now, I was going to talk for a little bit. Good point, Brutus. It's almost the same here. It's almost like it feels like it's too hot for, mid June, early June. It almost feels like it's already July. And that kind of affects different species different ways. We do have some things on the move, but that kind of leads me into my next, or the first talking point I had for tonight's live was, that I released another aquatic video today, and when I first started out my channel, I released some stuff that I had shot in aquariums and different places, zoos, aquariums, captivity, things like that. I actually like doing fish videos. They're kind of like relaxing to do. They require not a lot of editing, at least the way I do them, and you may not like them, you may like someone else's. I understand that too. Right on, Brutus, man. There's things in your aquariums and zoos that you just don't see anywhere else. Survival. Thank you for being in the house, bro. I love the show you did with your dad. That was cool. That was real cool. I think I watched it twice actually. But anyway, basically, I did release a live video of a batfish today or last night. It had been like uploaded to my channel for 2 or 3 years, and I just had never let it go. And I decided, what's wrong with a little variety? Hey, Autumn, glad to see you here. I've been talking to some people who have like, yes, several thousand subscribers, and people who go to actual YouTube clinics. And, I definitely was concerned about, releasing a video that was out of my niche. because when I first started doing aquatics videos, they didn't get a lot of love. Like I'd do like a cottonmouth video, I'd get 300-400 views, which is still kind of small. But then I'd do like like a clownfish video or something, and it would get like 16 views. So I didn't necessarily have to worry about that. Right on, Headhunter. Your content, your channel, you do you. I basically didn't want it to be a channel that was just purely snakes. I really kind of wanted to do a bunch of different facets with it, and then I kind of kind of learned how YouTube works and how it gets off the ground. And like you'll have certain factions of your audience that will tune in to see this and see that. Hey, Immortal, and hi, Ariel. Glad you're here. Glad y'all can make it. But anyway, I kind of wanted to know what you thought about, the fish video. I did a batfish video, and it was like a 2-3 minute video. I did get a couple cool shots. I got some behavior that you don't always see with those guys. So I definitely was kind of happy to do that, pull that off, and just happened to have the camera on there in the right place, the right time. I may work on some more of those, and Autumn, part of me releasing that batfish video was you telling me that Laz watched him. So go figure. Hey, thanks, Mike. You're gonna love one of my snapping turtle videos coming up. I I just let's just say I've moved 20, 30, 40 snapping turtles off the road in my life. I've never had one catch air on me. That was a first. So Mike, you're gonna love that one. I'll make sure that you know when it's gonna pop. But basically, I kind of feel like it's time. I've kind of reached a milestone of like 1,000 subscribers, and my watch time is growing, and part of that is due to the lives. Actually had a guy named his channel's Iron Dog Reptiles, and he lives in my town, and he got to stop by over the weekend. We got to visit and hang out and talk about some things, and he's a great guy. His name's Chris. He's absolutely phenomenal gentleman to know. Him and Justin both, they do the Iron Animal show, and hey, thank you, Survival. I've actually been doing the same with your channel, because I know your audience and my audience are two completely different audiences, but I got a lot of buddies that love your channel, Survival. And so I've been posting it, up there. Excuse me. Good job, Immortal. What 4 herps do you have? Or if you want to keep it under wraps, that's cool too. But anyway, hey Brutus, it's a tough year. It is a tough year. I've got some video already shot from earlier in this year, but I do not nearly have the content that I thought I would for this channel for this season. So that's why I'm kind of like starting to toy with let's get back into the aquatics, because I always have friends who have aquariums I can go film. You know, Field herping has been a bust in northeastern Oklahoma for me. I generally have been hitting it hard 2 nights a week. And my once again, my friends who are having more, I'll say better finds than me, they're actually hitting it like 3, 4, 5 nights a week, or they're catching it perfect weather. I recently went road cruising in a little known Massasauga territory looking for a Western Massasauga. Me and a bud, we took off up there. And we were kind of like right in front of a storm front. And it should have produced like so many more finds. We ended up finding like a really cool snapping turtle. We found an ornate box turtle. We found water snake that moved off the road so fast we can identify it. Found a bullfrog or green frog. I'm not the expert on IDing those things. I will get an ID before we make that video. Mickey, good to see you. Been missing you. Been missing all my family over on Discord. Just have not had the time to make it over there, and I've been forcing myself to get sleep lately. It's definitely been. Anyone who knows me, hey Brad, anyone who knows me knows that I have a problem sleeping, and they also know that I'm a night owl. And I've had nights like the last week. I've maybe had 2 or 3 nights where I'd get 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night and have to be up in the morning for something. And it's kind of a bummer because you know, when you have trouble getting to sleep and you're working with different things, different supplements, even drugs, and you have a sleep disorder, it's painful. Hey, Snakes on the Plains, you got one saga. That's one more than I've had in 2 years. No, Snakes, just inner knowledge, inner working knowledge. There's this place over here in eastern Oklahoma where sagas are not really thought to be. It's not a common area for them. Dylan Young, sir, I'm honored by your presence. Definitely glad to see your new video today. Go check out Dylan Young's channel for sure if you want some crazy, crazy video of just beautiful western Oklahoma. Dylan lives in the coolest part of the state, kind of down by where like the Pemberton boys film a lot of their stuff. And Dylan is an amazing, amazing filmmaker. I cannot say enough good about Dylan Young. He's actually inspired me to get into other facets of photography and drones and things like that. And Dylan Young, this DJI battery, bud, it's for you. Because I didn't think I could really do a lot with drones. Dylan Young, if you have a DJI drone, Dylan Young's tutorials on DJI drones are so amazing, and they're simple enough for me to understand. He just doesn't get into all the fluff. He doesn't get into 30 minutes of stuff you don't need to know. You need to reset your drone compass? 4 steps. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam. 5-minute video. Okay, to me, there's a lot of value in that. Dylan, it would be almost a dream of mine to do a collab with you. Seriously, I mean that. I think your stuff is amazing. I don't know how you do some of the stuff you do, and if ever you put on a clinic, let me know because I will be the first to sign up. I promise you that, Dylan. Snakes, yeah, man. I hopefully will get one this weekend, and hopefully, hopefully, if not, hopefully see a lot of other things. Well, thank you. Definitely a huge compliment coming from you, D. Sue, glad to see you. Sorry, I've not messaged you back. I've been a little caught up. But anyway, that kind of feeds into another thing. I have another drone channel, and I'm starting to learn the value of B-roll. Some of that's straight from Dylan, guys in our chat. I can't believe he's in my chat, but Dylan's in my chat. And yes, Autumn, I have been fanboying over Dylan for some time. This is no secret. I mean, I don't have his logo tattooed on my chest. The appointment is next Thursday. It's going to go down. But I'm going to start throwing probably a little more habitat, a little more GoPro footage and stuff like that into my miscellaneous snake trips, because I kind of saw it as a bandwagon that a lot of people were doing and jumping on. But then I kind of thought, sup, Venom Wonderful. But then I kind of thought, is it good? That's the question. It's not, don't do this because everybody is doing this. It's kind of more along the lines of, do this because it's neat. Dylan recently, I want to say he did an amazing video on like the importance of B-roll. He shot this amazing scene of like his camera shooting a time lapse sequence, and he shot it from the perspective of someone watching the camera, and it's just like the most phenomenal kind of tutorial that you would see. Please, if you like drones, if you like aerial footage, if you like footage of rural areas, two channels I'm going to shout out right now. Number one, Dylan Young. Number two, Pemberton Boys. Pemberton Boys, they're not here in the live. They don't get to hit a lot of lives. Steve is too busy himself out building rock cairns in national forests. But anyway, I'm sure you'll catch this on the replay, and I'll catch some hell about that. But both these channels, Pemberton Boys are straight legit Dylan Young. I am amazed at Steve just how he's taken off. I mean, we may start calling him Little Dylan, you know. Hopefully someone repeats hopefully someone repeats that his name was mentioned in this, and then he watches it and logs me some watch time. Autumn, if he watches it, he can kick me in the behind. I kind of wanted to kick his behind because I find out he's like hanging out on Lake Keystone, which is 4 miles from my house. Didn't bring the kids by. Yeah, Steve. And Steve's kind of like Dylan, you know, neither of them give up their tricks easy. So, like, I'm trying to move to that next level, but I'm really waiting for the Dylan clinic, or even the Steve clinic. My God. Pemberton Boys and Dylan Young, two channels you gotta check out. Definitely, if you like outdoor footage, it's not necessarily something my audience would be totally into, but I think a lot of people would get a lot out of both channels. And once again, if you're into photography and drones, there is no other channel than Dylan Young. You know, there's people out there with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they put out these 30-minute videos, and you go through the video, and like you actually only need 2 minutes of that video. That's what's so awesome about Dylan is he takes that 2 minutes you actually need and throws it out there. And like people who are beginning pilots like myself, it's really good to have that kind of just get to it information so you can pull off what you need to learn. And it really inspires you to try to achieve more. So there's going to be a lot more drone footage and GoPro footage in my upcoming snake videos. I've definitely been making it a point to try and get some of that whenever I go out into an area. And I try to kind of get it like a little ahead of where I'm going so that I don't give away any locations. Hey DEA, glad to have you in here tonight. But I definitely like the habitat aspect of like snake photography, like some of the stuff that like Tyler Albertson does. You can check him out at Okla Wild, OKLA Wild on Instagram. I believe Tyler Albertson. He is phenomenal. Few people are in his league. David Cowell, some of that gang, they're getting there. But man, Tyler's just, I think he's just the boss. That's just my opinion. But I kind of do like that habitat, stuff that they weave into the photographs. But it's also to me kind of easier to take a photograph and edit some of like a landmark out so that people won't know the exact area you're shooting in. And it's kind of a it's kind of like like when you're doing video and you get some wide angle stuff. Tyler is definitely coming along. He is the goat when it comes to snake photography in Oklahoma. One of his photos made it on the cover of Outdoor Oklahoma magazine. and it was just this phenomenal photo that like he just captured perfectly. And I've seen him work. He's just totally professional. I've been out in the field with him. He's totally good. You want to check out Tyler Albertson. I think it's Oklo Wild on Instagram. Might as well shout him out too while we're talking about this subject. But anyway, let me know in the chat and let me know in the comments below if you watch this later. Please leave me a comment. You like fish videos? You don't. You like aquatic videos? You don't. Boa man, how are you doing? You're going to go to Hamburg, man. Have fun. I wish I was going to Hamburg. That's a great reptile show. I've got friends that hit it all the time, and it's definitely a cool reptile show. But please do let me know what you think about my aquatic videos, and if you like them, if that's something you want to see more of, and ideas. Man, give me some ideas, because that's kind of an area where this guy has this species, and I put a camera up to the glass. I don't really know what to do other than that. I'm going to try and release them on different days so that my snake audience and reptile audience doesn't always, catch them. And not that I don't want them to catch them, but it's like I know a lot of people just come to my channel for snakes, and that's all they do. And or I won't say that's all they do, that's their main reason for coming to my channel. So anyway, we're going to leave that subject behind because I'm not wanting to be on for like a full hour tonight. It may go there, it may not. I wanted to address some subjects within venomous keeping, and I think that like I'm probably going to do a live with Uber, some of those guys later in the upcoming weeks. Snakes and Planes, Lou B, and another phenomenal channel. I don't know how Lou does some of the stuff he does. Literally, Lou B. Go check him out, Lou B747. The guy field herps all over the world. He gets all this crazy aerial footage because he's a pilot. So he just flies to Indochina and, rustles up a king cobra. It's great. Lou B, definitely check him out. Warrior Z, thank you for stopping in. I'm glad you got to visit with us. But there's been a lot of talk lately amongst some of the people I know about, venomous keeping. What's the right way to do this? What's the right way to do that? And I'm going to say that I got involved with reptile husbandry back probably around 1984. I started volunteering at the local zoo and was basically told, okay, look, kid, do 2 years in birds, small mammals, and children's zoo. And, if you do 2 years in that and you don't screw anything up, we'll let you consider working reptiles. Reptiles and large mammals were two areas they didn't let teenage volunteers do a lot in because of the danger and I think the increased liability. And keep in mind, this is back in the 80s. So I wouldn't doubt that it's gotten a lot worse today and that probably reptiles are probably just off the table altogether, especially if it comes to stuff like venomous, large crocodilians, large lizards. I'm probably pretty sure that most zoos these days don't want to take the liability of exposing teenage volunteers to this. But around 1985, I got handed a workbook by a curator, the zoo curator, on the protocols of working with venomous and dangerous reptiles. It covered stuff about how to do things with monitor lizards, about how to feed large snakes and do it safely, about how to, work with a snake and get it to go into a shift box and then pull the shift box out. Things like this. Now, once again, this is going down for me back in the mid to late 80s. I did my 2 years. I got to go work reptiles. First thing I got told was hit the mouse colony. This was back when zoos grew their own mice and bred their own mice. And I would clean probably 400 mice and about 50 rats. Their enclosures and tubs, kept them in racks, none of this frozen thawed business. But, we would, I would clean 400 mice and 50, 60, 75 rats every week. And then I would start killing a bunch of them. Um, it was kind of a little bit gnarly. Um, we would take the mice and we would, just frap them on the head onto a brick, and then we'd do a cervical dislocation with a pencil or ruler. And, we'd line up 10 mice. They'd get tossed in owl cages, frogmouth cages, other snake cages, things like that. That's just kind of the way things were done back then. I think most zoos today are probably pre-ordering frozen thawed rodents, and it's probably better and probably more cost effective today than to take the time to invest in the labor. But anyway, see you later, Sue. What I kind of learned is I kind of learned like a lot of precautionary stuff working in an actual AZA zoo, even on a volunteer capacity. I would take the time to ask the curator, hey, if you have to do this, what do you do here? And he would explain it to me. He's a great guy. He took a lot of time with me, and he really, really made my teenage years a special place. When a lot of kids I know, or a lot of people my age I know, not kids, are excited about their 35th, 30th high school reunion. The best years of my teenage existence were spent at the local zoo. And you just learned about doing things safety first, the right way, and making sure you go through all of these steps each time. I'll be the first to say that I've kept venomous before in and not always done things the right way. I've always put a premium on safety, but have I kept a venomous reptile in an apartment before where it was technically illegal? Yeah, I've done that. Not proud of that, but I want to throw that out there to say, hey, I've done some things the wrong way too. I don't ever want to let my ego get ahead of me on things. But lately, there's just been a lot of discussion about, venomous keeping and how to do things and what to do right and what temperatures and how to feed and what species is good for people getting into venomous. And I kind of think that almost if you have to ask those questions, you're not ready to get into venomous. You should kind of already know. You should already be at the level where you're doing the research. And once again, this isn't asking five people at a reptile show, although sometimes that can be good. It's also studying, the animal's native habitat, studying, how are these animals kept in captivity. Email people who do routinely keep them, and also, take into account that you want to mimic the animal's natural habitat. I mean, this is the correct way to go about keeping venomous creatures, or any herp for that matter. I mean, any snake, whether it's a black rat, a carpet python, or a Gila monster, you're going to want to mimic its natural environment as close as possible, which means you're going to have like a warm cycle, a cool cycle. You're going to want to be concerned about ambient temperature as well as basking hot spots, things like this. If you don't already kind of have that stuff, please don't buy venomous animals. You definitely want to have the research under your belt. And, and it's, once again, I don't ever want to be viewed as attacking anyone else in the community. What I want to convey is I want to attack the principle, because if one person is doing something wrong, I'm going to take it that probably there's other people out there making the same mistake. So why make the video personal and cause a beef or something like that? Just go out there and put out the information. That's just my philosophy. Um, I don't want to, I don't want to, you know, point a finger at Joe Keeper over here and say, hey, really, you really don't need to do this. Saying that privately through instant message, through text, phone call, totally different story. I'm totally supportive of that. But what I want to do is if I'm going to take the time to do a live and address an issue, why not keep it in a way to where the live, I could post a link to someone 5 years from now and it still be relevant. Hello, Moon over Miami. Glad you're here. But definitely, with things like desert venomous species, you do want to watch your temps. You do want to keep your temps fairly high, higher 70s, lower 80s, things like that. You definitely want to consider things like, is the antivenom for this animal readily available? Because God forbid you get bit, God forbid the animal escapes and bites someone else. Um, there's all these different things you need to think about if you're getting into venomous keeping. Do you have extra liability insurance in case something does happen? Let's say a tornado hits your facility or hits your home where you're keeping your venomous animal. And once again, I will always be the first one to say, if you want to work with venomous creatures, contact these people, hit me up, hit this person up, hit this organization up. Because there are some good classes and things out there that I've seen. Some of them are a pain, some of them are only happen in certain areas. So like a person in Oklahoma or Colorado might not get to go to this week-long venomous training camp in Florida. And that's kind of really a shame. Maybe they'll spread out as time goes because I think it could be useful. But if anyone ever wants to get into venomous keeping, and I point them anywhere besides copperheads and cottonmouths, I would say I'm probably had too much cold medicine that day. Rattlesnakes, if you've worked with them in the wild, could be an okay, venomous creature to keep. Once again, you need to know a little bit about their behavior. You need to know a little bit about how they react. And then realize they're going to react totally differently after you stick them in a glass box or an Eodesia cage. See you later, Immortal. The reason I steer people towards copperheads and cottonmouths is it's been my personal experience that even though they can still be very unpredictable, they oftentimes take to things like riding a hook very well. Sometimes you have to work with them a little, but a younger copperhead to me would be an ideal first venomous species if you were wanting to get into venomous. Don't go buy a monocled cobra. Don't go buy, a puff adder for your first venomous species. I think most of the community would back me on that, and if not, then I don't know where they're coming from because I do see people doing some things like that. See you later, Dylan. Yes, let's connect soon. Um, Definitely. Okies support Okies, man. Love you, Dylan, so much. I never dreamed you would be hitting me up and saying, let's collab. Never dreamed it, Dylan. So happy to see you. Um, Thank you, not Lou. Thank you, Boa Man. But once again, if you're going to get into venomous, start with the stuff that cannot kill you or that is not likely to kill you and that the antivenom is locally available for. One of the problems with keeping venomous, you too, Dylan, see ya. One of the problems with keeping venomous that oftentimes isn't really addressed is how the effects are on other people of you keeping venomous snakes. Like, if you keep something that the local hospital keeps the anti-venom in stock for, you're probably in a good you're probably in a good place should something occur. Now keep in mind the goal is for it never to occur. The goal is for you to be so safety minded that like nothing bad ever happens. It's about time you get here, Squatchy. I'm docking your pay. Go check out Squatchy Herper too. Guy has not made a whole lot of videos yet, but he's made some pretty good ones. Excuse me. He's my buddy. He's over in Arkansas. And I hope to get over and collab with him one day. But the thing of it is, what you don't want the situation to happen, and maybe there's some differing opinions on this. Let me know in the chat or in the comments. But you don't want to get a pet green mamba, get bitten by it, which can happen very easily with a mamba, and then have to rob a zoo for the anti-venom. They send you a bill that you're probably going to skip out on because why aren't you either have something set up before you get to this point? It's something to think about. Keeping venomous creatures entails a lot of forethought, a lot of planning, and a lot of worst case scenario. What can you do? And, how to prepare for this. Where keeping is going to come under pressure from government agencies. And me and Iron Dog were talking about this weekend about the large constrictor bans, is when you keeping an animal actually affects someone else. Like your animal gets out and bites someone. Your animal escapes and is on the loose. That's the kind of thing that gets other people talking because we all know that everybody is scared of snakes. Almost everybody is. There's like this handful of hurt people out there that are not scared of snakes. We're like a big minority. And to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about, probably about 10 years ago, someone who was a fairly well-known fellow in the reptile keeping community had a king cobra escape from where he was keeping his animals. Excuse me. I started going off about it, like immediately, because it escaped into what I understood to be a populated urban area. And I'm sitting there going, this is a king cobra, guys. We cannot let this happen. And people started backing me up and saying, hey, hold off. This is so-and-so. This is so-and-so. I don't care who it is. Wrong is wrong is wrong. And if I do wrong, I should be called out by it. If anyone does wrong, they should be called out by it. These are not areas where we have room for error. And it doesn't matter if you've been like the stellar part of the herp community for 40 years or that you have done research on this project for this institution and you worked for this zoo. If you're going to keep an alligator and you can't keep it in your backyard, you don't need the alligator. It's plain and simple. But once again, hey Desert, how are you? Glad to see you pop over here. But what I'm getting at is everybody wanted to take the heat off this kid because even though he was quite experienced, knew more than the average person, he had a highly venomous snake escape into a populated area. Local keepers came together. They helped get the situation under the control. The snake was caught. But had that king cobra envenomated a school child, someone's pet, had it gotten into an apartment building or something, that town wouldn't have taken them 20 seconds to start typing up the anti-venomous county ordinance or the anti-venomous city ordinance, things like that. These things, sometimes they happen because of political motivation and stuff from different animal rights groups, but other times they do happen because people make stupid mistakes. And we as a community kind of need to keep an eye on each other. And that's why, if you see your brother doing something wrong, let him know. Um, I definitely encourage people to send private messages. Don't make a drama scene out of it. And I'm not trying to pick on anyone. I'm just trying to say this is what I've seen work best over the years. Now, if you discuss your concerns with someone and they tell you to bug off, maybe then it's time to go public. Maybe then it's time to talk to a group of other people to confront the person about what they're doing wrong or about how this is going to blow up in their face. And then that in turn affects everybody who's keeping. But that's what I'm saying. I try to keep it away from attacking the personality and instead attacking the principle. There is no excuse for not maximizing safety anytime you're dealing with a really large constrictor. And when I say really large constrictor, I mean one that really two people should be interacting with, not one, or a venomous animal. Definitely one thing that I'd never really thought about before. And I want to say I saw it on Viper Keeper's channel years ago when I watched him. I haven't watched him in a little while. Nothing against him, I just haven't got over there. But he had made a post on one of his Facebook channels. And it was something about, I'm not working with any of the venomous snakes this weekend. I'm not even opening the enclosures because there's so much snow on the ground that emergency response times will be delayed should something happen. It's that kind of forethought that, in my opinion, venomous keepers need to be exercising. You don't have to if you don't want to. Knock yourself out doing it your way, but also expect people to address your mistakes when you make them. And once again, I feel that's best done privately first, and it should be elevated to public if they just blow you off and don't listen. Some people are going to think this video is geared at them, or that I'm taking jabs at them. I'm really not. This could apply to a lot of people. This could apply to 20 different people I saw on Instagram today because I follow a lot of venomous hashtags. Once again, and I'm not saying that I have the magic answer for everything either, but if you're dealing with the desert species, it's going to want high temps. If you're dealing with something that's equatorial, it's going to want that 80 to 83 degree humidity all around kind of feel, and that's what that animal's going to prosper under. I have a couple of hingeback tortoises. They're Holmes hingeback tortoises. See you later, snakes on the plane. Thanks for stopping by, snakes on the plane. Hope to see you this weekend. But I've got a couple of Conyxus homiana, and they're Holmes hingeback tortoises. Very, very rare to find captive bred specimens. They're getting more common, but most of what you see on King Snake and stuff for $50 to $60, those are all imports that were bought out of African food markets. And a lot of those don't survive. Some people have got them too. But once again, it's a species that's from the equatorial part of Western Africa, and they really like high humidity. They like, I wouldn't say you saturate them, but you definitely keep their humidity high and you keep their temps up pretty high. You keep them in that, 80 to 85 range. Maybe a couple degrees, drop at night. But you sure don't let them get down into the 60s. They're a tropical animal. They almost never see temperatures like that. So, anyway, you definitely want to research any venomous animal before you obtain it. Talk to several people who successfully keep them. You can figure this out. You can go to YouTube, type in Mojave rattlesnake. You can see who's keeping Mojave rattlesnakes. I mean, you can kind of sort of figure that out. and ask them. If you get 6 or 7 different answers, you really shouldn't. But should you do that, maybe up the game a little and email email your local zoo and say, "Hey, I've noticed you've got some Mojave rattlesnakes. What what temperatures do you guys keep them at?" They'd probably answer the question. Yeah, Brutus, there are a lot of Okies in here. See you later, not Lou. Hey, thank you again. I'll be in touch with you soon. Yeah, well, I've got a fairly decent following in Oklahoma. It's my home state, and then a bunch of other people that whose channels I follow that are Oklahoman that are not snake people are in here tonight. And then we have transplants like Autumn. So I'm glad she's here. And I kind of want to wrap this up pretty quick, but when getting a venomous species, before you get a monocled cobra, do a lot of research. Uh, contact zookeepers, contact your herp clubs, contact people other than the person trying to sell you the animal. That's one thing I found over the years of attending reptile expos is there are some very unscrupulous people out there, and they will and if you tell them, "Hey, I can only keep my temperatures at 75." They'll say, "Oh, hey, this carpet python will do wonderful at 75." $200, $300 later, next thing you know, you've got a dead snake. Do the research. Find out what their native habitat is like. I keep some spotted turtles. I'm probably going to do a video with them soon. And one of my friends asked me, about their water. And I said, yeah, I kind of keep it a little boggy. I don't keep a filter in it. I do water changes, but I do kind of keep it a little murky, a little, I always have one standing by, Desert Wolf. You should know this by now. And I don't go anywhere without a Quick Trip cup. It's usually full of iced tea, but I drink it. So, but anyway, and I told him, for spotted turtles, for mud turtles, which those are what I keep. They like boggy water. They like murky water. They like having some shade in the water. Now, things like map turtles and diamondback terrapins, they need fresh, constantly flowing water to help them prosper, to keep them alive. I've actually seen people try to keep them alive without filtration, and I've never seen it work well. They need filtration or pump or something. You have to keep that water fresh and flowing for species like, map turtles and for diamondback terrapins. Once again, that kind of also mimics where they live in the wild. You find those guys on beaches or in estuaries. The map turtles you're more likely to find in streams and lakes than in ponds, and you have a different water content. So you definitely want to do some research about any animal, especially venomous or any rare exotic species. Do your research on the animal prior to obtaining the animal. It's age-old advice. People were saying this in the 80s. They were saying it in the 90s. They were saying it in the 2000s, 2010s. They're saying it today. You should know about what your animal needs before you acquire the animal. I don't really have a lot. If someone wants to challenge that assertion, I don't really have a lot to say to you, and you've kind of taken yourself down a notch in my eyes because anyone that's going to tell you, buy an animal before you know what you're getting into, maybe you shouldn't be selling that animal. It's just a thought. Gang, if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to try and cut it tonight because I'm trying to keep my lives under an hour because I want you guys to watch all of them, at least as much as possible. I'm kind of getting more comfortable with doing them and definitely interacting with you guys a little more. I don't pull off lives like Desert Wolf Armory. That guy pulls off a live like nobody I've seen. He just lets it roll, and he's great. So go check out some of Desert Wolf's lives. Ariel, once again, You do a great live, Ariel. And then the Pemberton boys showed up. Wow. Um, God, I hope you weren't tipped off. Either way, if you were, we were saying good things about your channel earlier, Steve. I did, I did tell them that you should be cited for ecological abuse for building rock cairns. Oh, buddy. But we were saying, me and Dylan Young was in here, Steve. Dylan Young was in my chat, along with Lou B, several others. I was so like amazed. And we were talking about the Pemberton Boys channel and how great it was if you wanted to see all the rock areas of Oklahoma and the canyons and the Wichitas and stuff like that. Smet Logic, glad to see you here, man. Glad you jumped on board. I'm actually probably starting to tail it down because I've been going for about 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Oh, well, thank you, Steve, for stopping by. I'm still mad at you. I am mad at you. You've been at Keystone 2 weekends in a row. You didn't bring the boys by the house. It's all good, bro. I'll pay you back soon. Yeah, definitely. Go check out the Pemberton Boys channel and Dylan Young. Those are two channels. If you want to see some amazing footage of Western Oklahoma, please do check out those channels. They're not hurt based. Both channels have a little bit of reptile action in them somewhere in there, but pretty amazing drone shots and things like that. So I got you, Steve. I know what it's like when you get the whole gang together and you've got several kids and what. I'm going to try and be in Sandy Sanders this weekend. I don't know if Snakes told you about it. I'm going to try and hit Sandy Sanders this weekend. So, man, let me know if you'll be around. No worries if you're not. No pressure. But but anyway, yeah, I'm going to kind of wrap this up because I kind of felt like I said what I had to say. If you see someone doing something wrong, try to handle it in private first before you let it get to a public issue. If people don't listen to you after you send them a private message, get a few people together and kind of say, yeah, this person's right, that person's right, we back him up, you back him up, this animal should be at these temps, and this is the care this animal needs. Rob, I am kind of doing these at random when I get like a moment to myself to do them. Yeah, Derek, you keep some water bowls in your enclosures. That one still tickled me. For anyone that didn't know, Desert Wolf Armory, his channel came under fire because when he does his feeding videos, he actually removes the water bowls out, and a lot of people were going off on him about not having water available to his snakes at all times. And it's like a Mojave rattlesnake, a western diamondback rattlesnake. These are creatures that in the wild, go 4 to 5 months without seeing any water. Doesn't mean you don't give them water. It just means everybody calm down. It was something else. But anyway, I am doing these when I get a random moment. Rob is Smet Logic Herping, a great field herping channel. Please, by all means, go watch every video those guys make. They are very entertaining and they have great finds. I can sometimes come up with some great finds. I'm not that entertaining. Rob is Smet Logic Herping. Definite shout out for them. Right. And and Rob, I'm sure you've seen one of my, or I'm sure you've seen like a video of someone just going up to a wild rattlesnake, and I'm not encouraging this. I'm not saying doing it, but taking like a squirt bottle and misting it, and they will just stay there and drink, and it's really fascinating behavior because like a lot of times rattlesnakes drink off their own scales, especially in the wild. But I've seen people do these videos where they just squirt a water bottle at them because they already know they need water. And once again, that's an advanced herper stunt to pull. That's right. Your last video, you gave a ridge-nosed rattlesnake a drink out of a bottle cap. Definitely. That was some cool stuff, Rob. That was probably the best one of the better videos I've seen all year. But gang, I appreciate you checking out my live. If you didn't catch it um, in real time, please go back and roll the replay. I'm trying to boost my watch hours. I'm getting there. Most of my videos I've made are kind of shorter and condensed. So I'm starting to make my content a little longer, and I hope I don't lose viewers that way, but we'll see. YouTube is a great big experiment for a lot of us. So, anyway, everyone, please take the time to check out the channels I mentioned. Anyone in the chat, I can't think of a channel in there that I wouldn't recommend you check out. Smet Logic Herping is great. Brutus has some good finds. Desert Wolf Armory, guns, venomous snakes, two of my favorite things. Pemberton Boys. Pemberton Boys shows you Oklahoma like no one else can show you Oklahoma. Why the state of Oklahoma hasn't hired them to make videos is beyond me. Snakes on the Plains and Squatchy Herper, both great field herping finds. Hissy Fit Snake Rescue, a little bit of everything. And she's taken off and growing. Ariel Viking Venturer, she does a great cooking channel that it's worth checking out if you're into cooking. Not Lou Exotics, he's new, he's getting off the ground, and he's going to have some good stuff. Dylan Young, once again, when it comes to drones and photography, my hero, my idol, my Dylan. Seriously, the fact that you said you wanted to collab, I was just blowing my mind. Immortal Herper, Moon Over Miami, thank you for stopping by. Two Metal for You, thank you for stopping by. Everybody go check out Lou B747. Guy filled herps all over the world and has amazing footage. DEA Exotics, another good one that a lot of people don't shout out enough, in my opinion. DEA Exotics Andrew up there does some really cool lives. And Andrew, we need to hook up and just make a time and make it happen. It's just going to be later at the night at this point. My days are tied up. Gang, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for checking that out. If you have a concern or question or you want me to clarify something, drop it in the comments below after the live ends, and I'll do my best. And one thing about me is I really do like teaching new people. I like taking someone who maybe has never worked with spotted turtles before and saying, okay, this is what you do, this is what you need. I actually like that kind of stuff. Um, I know it's not everybody's game, and it's definitely hard to find like mentorship in things like venomous, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible to find. It's just things that are worthwhile take some looking for. Guys, have a good night. Sorry I ran right up to an hour. Please watch the replay if you came in late. Rob, as always, Smet Logic Herping, I appreciate it. Snapper Keeper Mike Peeville. Go check out his channel if you like turtles. That guy has some amazing short videos, and I'm a big fan. Boa Man, thank you for stopping by. Smet Logic, thank you for stopping by. Squatch and Hissy Fits and Derek, man, love you guys. If I owe any of you guys a phone call, I'm going to be around after this video. Feel free to hit me up. Peace.